It's your favorite doctor, that girl Henny, and I'm about to pour up on the Diddy court docs for y'all right now. Booyah. Had to get my background in place because my background was not in place. Oh no, hold on. Damn it. For whatever reason, the Wi-Fi connection where I'm at, it restricts certain lives. Like, it restricts anything that says Diddy. Anything that says Diddy, it's like, nah, that's a negative. All right, so like it restricts anything that says Diddy. Hold on, because I have to see what my thumbnail is because I don't think my thumbnail matches my description, which is kind of crazy of me. I'm on the wrong live. Oh. Wait a minute. I'm on the wrong live. Am I on the wrong live? This Diddy trial day 29 defense rest. Diddy speaks. Roger Bond speaks on Gene Deal. Is that where we are right now? Because the thumbnail says Diddy trial day 29 defense motions rule 29 case over. Okay. I didn't. Whatever. Let me turn this volume down right now. Anyway, what's poppin', everybody? So today has been a day, as I have explained to y'all already earlier when we were outside the courthouse. Let me get into some light, okay? I don't have my ring light set up. No, none of that stuff. There we go. That's better, right? Now y'all can see me very clearly. I cannot see y'all. Okay, now I can see y'all. Why she look like Teeny Garagos? No offense to that girl. Anyway, what's poppin'? Talia, Miss Poppington, T. Jackson, Xavier, Bobby Burnett, what's poppin'? What it do? Fire, what's poppin'? Uniquely, who do you? Miss Pammy, Latrina Swagger Low, Miss Lady T on her square biz. Goddess with the edits is over here. Nikki, Nino Black, okay. Holly, Evelyn Holly, Miss Stoots. I don't know how to say your first name, so I don't want to say it. Enigma, Katina, Miss Tiff, Miss Teddy B. Okay, Teddy B, like Teddy B, Teddy P. All right, you guys. Where's my notebooks? First of all, we're gonna get into a lot of things today. All right. Now, I did speak to y'all about the stuff that was going on with the defense team and all of that and how they were objecting to exhibits and everything of the such. But now, today when we came back, I forgot which notebook I was writing in. Oh, did I write in the wrong notebook? I think I wrote in the wrong notebook. God dang it. All right. So, baby, the defense came with their Rule 29 today. And like I said to y'all in the car, if you caught me over on IG, I talked about Diddy. I talked about Krishan. I talked about everything, okay? But I didn't get into detail. So basically, the defense has said that the prosecution has not put on their case. Now, I need y'all to understand that we are speaking from the defense's perspective right now. Since there are no witnesses, all we have is this Rule 29 that they are going for, okay? That they have motion for. So they're saying in count 1, when it comes down to the racketeering, Shapiro was leading this. Alexandra Shapiro. It was not Teeny Garagos or any of that. So it was a little interesting, but I think it was a little long-winded. Just, anyway. They said that the conduct was not there for the enterprise. They said that it was insufficient evidence for enterprise because the object was to, they said that he conducted this business from 2004 to 2024, which was the span of the 20 years, right? And they said that they had to show that there was an agreement between these people, that they were sitting down at the table and that they conspired to become a criminal enterprise. All right. So normally when you have a criminal enterprise, when you have La Cosa Nostra, when you have Bloods, Crips, things of that nature, usually what they're saying is that everyone sits down, everybody agrees, people are assigned positions within the organization, and everyone knows what it is that the goal and the objective is of the organization, right? So Shapiro and the defense are saying no one ever sat down and agreed that this was going to be a criminal organization, and the fact that legitimate business is there, and that's basically what everybody is employed under, the legitimate businesses, it cannot be a criminal enterprise. Now, there are points that I will touch on after I get all of this out, okay? So that's to the enterprise. They also said that there was no RICO relationship between the legitimate business and the alleged criminal organization, all right? So they shot that one down. They said for count 2, it was insufficient to establish RICO in the indictment. They failed to establish RICO in the indictment, okay? That they that them picking up, when it comes down to the illegal substances, that picking up personal quantities of illegal substances and running personal errands and things of that nature by the assistants did not constitute organization, all right? That the assistants didn't know what was going on in those hotel rooms, that the assistants didn't know that these were escorts, that the assistants didn't know anything about anything when it came down to these freak-offs, these hotel nights, these king nights, these wild king nights. They knew nothing about any of it. Moving right along, because this is the defense. And that the assistants figured that the freak-offs, hotel nights, king nights, wild king nights, those were all personal. That had nothing to do with anything criminal. And that they also said Diddy took steps to keep his staff from knowing what was going on. He said that Jane and Cassie felt like this portion of his life, these freak-offs, these king nights, these hotel nights and all of that these were secrets, okay? This was secret, and that it was a part of his life that he was sharing with them, and therefore it made them feel special, okay? I'm going to wait till I finish, because there's things that I want to say, but I want to be fair to the defense, and I want to give y'all what the defense is saying, all right? Shapiro said that KK and the assistants didn't help Diddy further the violence with Cassie at all. And he said that, in fact, they tried to help Cassie and not Diddy, because Cassie felt more comfortable with them. That the security didn't know of any of the SEX crimes, and that DV isn't part of the case, all right? But they just, shut up, Henny. And that the violence wasn't used to get Cassie to engage in freak-offs, all right? So now this is what she said about that. She also said that there was no evidence saying that KK knew or thought the girls were coerced or put in danger, that KK didn't did damage control, that's what she was doing. She was more so doing damage control. And Shapiro said that Diddy was lying to KK at one point in time, and quoted a text that if you can't be, where KK said to him, if you can't be honest with me, this isn't going to work, and we'll end up in situations like this, talking about the Cassie case, right? And they said that even if the evidence did support a small instance, that the illegal substances wouldn't add to it, okay? That KK didn't approve of certain behaviors, and and that she was not a part of the organization until a significant time later, that she was not there during the whole duration of this. That Bad Boy was started way back when, and by the time KK came in, it had already been established. The legal establishment had already been established. Okay, let me see what some of y'all are saying before I continue on. Hey, Mukavelli, in all honesty, Diddy's a homosexual. Ooh. When and if he beats this, bro needs to just own all this so nobody can use it against him. I agree. Diddy's lawyers want that money they working hard for. No, Enigma, she used it before. What happened? Is this a new background? This is the background I use on TikTok. All right. Yeah, no doubt about that, Swagger. What did you say, Swagger? Super. You know what? I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm getting out the comments. All right. So then they went on to say that apparently the government failed to prove bribery beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. They said that there was no intent to keep the video, the Intercontinental video, from the police because no police were called to the scene. But there were let me shut up. I said I was going to finish getting it. So this is what they're saying. I want to give you everything that the defense said first, and then we'll talk about it. All right. So they said that there was also no police investigation. And at that time, there was no federal investigation that was going on at all. They also said that the government did not prove that Diddy used threats to hide a person from the police, and they started stating how that's usually how things go down. Like, witnesses get hidden, victims get hidden or hinder the police from their investigation. So none of that happened because the police were never called into it. And that the defendant and that Diddy didn't have knowledge of any wrongdoing. Now, there was a lot of talk of mens rea about the intent of things, and they were saying that there was no mens rea, there was no nexus to any of this stuff. When it came down to the forced labor, they were saying that, there was no forced labor when it came down, and they used Capricorn Clark, Mia, Jane, and Cassie as the people that they were using this forced labor on. They started citing cases where Chinese immigrants were brought in, and who they were working for was taking their passports from them. They were living in horrible situations. They were not allowed to leave. They could not leave, and if they did leave, they were very limited as to what they could do. Their pay was very minimal, etc., etc. And they're saying that none of this was going on at this time, even with Capricorn Clark stating that she worked all this overtime and the $80,000 that she said she was owed. Remember when Diddy crumbled the paper up? And they said even if that was the case, that's still not forced labor, that they weren't put in any danger, they weren't put in any dangerous situations, that they weren't put in any hazardous situations. So they're saying that forced labor wasn't there. They were also saying Capricorn Clark could have left at any point in time, okay? Same thing with Mia. They're saying that Mia could have left at any point in time. They said that Capricorn Clark, after she left Diddy, went on to work with 50, and that Mia, after her tenure with Diddy and with Revolt was revoked, she went on to work with Madonna. So they're saying there was nothing hindering them from getting employment elsewhere. They also talked about how Mia was upset that Diddy didn't want to work on her projects anymore with her on Revolt, that Diddy told her he didn't want to work on the movie with her anymore. And so that's when Mia was actually let go. Now, I want to clear something up. Mia never filed a lawsuit against Diddy. I'm going to repeat that again. Mia never filed a lawsuit against Diddy. What happened was Bad Boy HR told her to contact her lawyers for her severance pay. That's where that came into play at. And so that's what they were in litigations about. And when they went to mediation, her lawyers set the bar at $10 million. But Mia walked away with $40,000, with her lawyers taking $200,000 and her taking $200,000. So it was a 50-50 split between her and her lawyers, and this was based on the overtime and the wages that she was never paid. So it was not a personal injury or a civil lawsuit. She didn't do any of that stuff. So Mia never filed a lawsuit against Diddy to the degree that Cassie did. You know what I'm saying? She was going for her severance pay. It had to be negotiated. So that's way different. That's way different. So yeah, it was for her severance pay. All right, salute to everybody that's coming into the chat. If you are new here, welcome, welcome to the bar. I am your favorite doc tender, that girl Henny, and we are pouring up on the Diddy court docs right now. All right, so they're saying the forced labor was out, okay? They also said that when it came down to Jane, that there were text messages after Cassie's lawsuit, between Jane and Diddy. And you know, when it comes down to this whole situation with Jane, y'all know how I feel, but there was also text messages, shut up Henny, where Diddy was asking Jane for support, and you know, was basically saying to her like, look, at this point in time, I need you to be here for me. And Jane was like, well, who's here for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody is here for me. So Jane wasn't going to report Diddy to law enforcement or any of that. They also said that there was insufficient evidence for the sex trafficking as well. That they said when it came down to the sound big girls make when they smack you. Mukavilli, are you picking on me? I don't know why my super chat's on. I see it. It's the little $sign. I see it. Anyway, they said that when it came down to Cassie and Jane, there was no evidence that these girls were forced into, my phone died, that they were forced into going into these freak offs. They also said that there was no evidence, and this goes to the transportation to engage in prostitution as well. They were saying that there was no evidence that these gentlemen were paid for their sex work, because they were referred to, which is true, they were referred to as escorts and entertainers. Escorts are for companionship and for entertainment, but they are not supposed to be engaging in sex. Also, they brought up that forced labor was made for like people who work in the home, like maids, nannies, butlers, things of that nature, who were paid unfairly and who possibly could have been like people that were not from this country. So that's another thing that they have brought up as well. When it came down to them saying that there was insufficiency. But basically what they said was the government did not prove their case beyond a shadow of a doubt in the eyes of the defense. And so they asked the judge, and I'm summarizing everything up. We'll probably go more in depth over the weekend because it's a lot. Oh, the kidnapping. They said there wasn't sufficient information for the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark. Okay, they said in the New York case. Now, remember I said this earlier. I think I said it yesterday. When it comes down to the New York case, the thing that they are looking at is the fact that Capricorn Clark, even after that first day, continued to go back an additional 4 days after that, where she had the option to not go back. All right. There was never any mention of anything in any text messages or any conversations or none of that. So as far as they're concerned, there was no case proven with Capricorn Clark's New York alleged kidnapping. When it came down to California, They said that the government can't prove that she went against her will with Diddy to Kid Cudi's house. So even with that, there's still no evidence that would back it up, is what they're saying. I'll go back over this and tell you what I think about some of these, but this is what the defense is putting out. All right. They said also for the kidnapping, I didn't think about the time that Cassie was at the London hotel. Remember, she testified, and even Roger Bonds has told the story of Diddy stomping on Cassie's face in the Escalade. They said that there was no evidence that Cassie was taken to the London hotel against her will. She was not held at Pum point, no firearm point. So they said that there was no evidence of her going against her will. So they said they did not prove the kidnapping. The arson, I said this too. The arson, they're saying that there's no evidence of Diddy being there with the arson, and that there was actually female DNA there, which we already discussed this. So that part I was not surprised when they said that. I was actually shaking and nodding my head like, yeah. What else? Insufficient evidence for Jane. When it comes down to the X trafficking, I already talked about that. I kind of jumped ahead. The victims felt rough. Drink. Okay. Okay. No evidence that the escorts were actually paid for SCX. I already talked about that, right? So the defense moved to dismiss the case. Okay, that's what they said. They moved to dismiss the case. All right. The judge reserved on the Rule 29 motion. Now, remember, we talked about how the judge, I mentioned this earlier today, he did have the right to say that he was going to reserve his verdict on the mistrial until after the jury makes their decision. And if the jury comes back with a guilty plea, the judge will then at that time make his decision as to whether or not it is going to be a acquittal. I'm sorry, I said a mistrial. Acquittal. So he did not rule on the acquittal today. So he's going to wait, which I had a feeling that he would, but he's going to wait. Now, I'm going to see, I can't put a poll in the chat. Oh, yes, I can. Hold on. Let me see if y'all see it. Now, Swagger, oh no, that's Sherm. Boom, there is your poll right there. It is right there. You guys, down at the bottom of the screen, you have a poll. The poll is, will the judge move for acquittal? Yes or no? There is no in between. So, Sherm, if you are in here, do not ask me for a third option. There is no third option on that one. So, y'all double tap on that screen, and y'all make sure y'all take the poll down below. All right, so they also went on, the defense that is, went on to talk about how, Daniel Phillips, that he has spoken with the government, and how he told them about, okay, no, that's not, all right, they went into how Dawn Richard, right, how she had met with the government multiple times and didn't mention the night with the eggs, the incident with the eggs where she saw Diddy try to hit Cassie with a pan of eggs. She didn't mention that until she got to the final 4 of 7 interviews. So that means that the first 3 times that she went and saw 3 times that she went and saw the government, she didn't mention it, but she mentioned it the last 4 times. They also talked about Sheree Hayes, and they talked about how Sheree Hayes said that he started getting feelings for Cassie. They talked about how Capricorn Clark met with the government multiple times between June of 2024 and May of 2025. And the first 11 meetings, she didn't mention that she called Lauren London until the 12th time she met with the government. When it came to Mia, she met with the government between January multiple times, 31 times to be exact, from January of 2024 to May of 2025. And in the first 3 meetings that she had with the government, she did not have a lawyer. And on that third one is when she stated that she was sexually assaulted. Okay, Brianna met first meeting with the government. She didn't tell them that Diddy told her that he could unalive her. And then after that, after they talked about that, and I believe that that's them trying to bring in perjury, maybe, or cause reasonable doubt with the testimony that was given. They're trying to plant the seeds of reasonable doubt in there. And then after this, the defense rested. Okay, they only submitted. No, I didn't. Okay, after this, the government had no rebuttal. Okay, the government was like, basically they felt like they had proven their case, so they had no rebuttal for the defense, and they just was like, yeah, all right, we'll see you at closing, basically is what they were saying. So in conclusion, that is the defense's motion. Now, where we stand right now, there is no court tomorrow, but there is court tomorrow because they are going to be going through the jury charges. Now, the jury charges are the sheets that I read to y'all last night. And remember, I told you that the government and the defense had to come up with an agreed upon sheet for the jurors to be able to use, and what the jurors were going to be charged with as far as the instructions. That's what they mean by charge. So that's what the defense and the government are going to be discussing with the judge tomorrow. But we do not have to be in court, so I will not be in court. I will more than likely follow on some tweets and keep y'all up to date on that. The only thing with that is, remember, those tweets don't give you the full transcript, so there may be information that is missing that was not disclosed to us because these are people's notes, all right? Also, closing arguments will begin on Thursday and Friday and will be in court from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I'm looking at it as they're saying that it's going to take the government a whole day to argue their case, and it's going to take the defense a whole day to argue their case, their point. And then I guess at that point in time, both the government and the defense will rest. And the jury will come back either on Monday, or they'll be given their jury instructions on Friday, but they will not begin deliberations until probably Monday of next week, which means that we are here anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks until these people can all get on one accord about each and every count that there is for Diddy. Sheesh. Child. But as of right now, both the defense and the prosecution have rested, you guys. The case is done. No more exhibits. No more testimony. The next thing is the closing arguments. Just that damn quick. Can y'all believe it? Okay. You know what, Nino Black? You bring up a very, very good point. He said, bro, the defense went a little funny after the juror got kicked. Like they really wanted juror 6 Then when he got kicked, all of a sudden they wanted to not use witnesses. And that's exactly what it seems like. Okay, being friends with Cassie does not... What? Being friends with Cassie does not call Lauren London into being a participant. Okay, let me see what you're talking about, because Lauren London did not participate in freak-offs. She's still grieving with... Where are you getting that from? You must have came in when we was talking about Lauren London. But that's not what I said, Bark. That's not what I said, Bark. Okay, what they said was when Capricorn Clark met with the government, she didn't mention the phone call to Lauren London outside. When she said she got kidnapped from Diddy, she said she called Lauren London on the phone. But they're saying that she didn't tell the government that right away, that it was like a couple times after, and then she mentioned it. Nobody said Lauren London participated in freak-offs. Where did you get that from? Woo wee, baby. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. Oh, because I'm like, wait a minute, I ain't say that now. All right, so now, y'all, let's go back over what it is that the defense was saying, because there was a couple things that I wanted to bring up. All right. So when they talk about KK had no knowledge, the assistants had no knowledge, that is not true. Because there has been testimony and text messages between KK and other assistants where they were talking about the wild king nights. Because guess what? That's what the staff called Diddy's freak-offs and hotel nights. Wild king nights. They talked about, they even found a freak-off video on a staff iPad. Everyone knew what was going on in them rooms. Even if they say they don't know, they may not have known the specifics, but they knew that something was going on. Assistants even coordinated things for them when it came down to these freak-offs, but I don't, and hotel nights. But you know, at the end of the day, to say that they didn't know anything at all, that's not exactly true. I agree with them. Let's start there. I do agree with them about Capricorn Clark, about the kidnapping in New York. We talked about that. I said that I didn't think that that was going to slide. I also do agree with them when it comes down to the arson. When it comes down to Capricorn Clark being kidnapped in Los Angeles, I'm a little on the fence with that one. So that might be considered reasonable doubt. Y'all double tap that screen, please. Get that up, please. And that's because the only thing that has me on the fence is like, but there was a bad boy SUV outside of Kid Cudi's house the night that it got broken into. And that's the same night that Capricorn Clark said she got into a black SUV with Diddy, and he had his pum out, and she went over there to Kid Cudi's house with him and Ruben, and they broke into Kid Cudi's house. So that's the thing that makes me say, With Cassie testified that she had tried to run when they got to the house, that Cassie had gotten out of that truck and she tried to run. And Bonds grabbed her, put her back in the truck, and they took her to the London. So I don't know if that would be considered kidnapping or not. The government, the defense is saying that that is not kidnapping. The escorts, even though they're saying that we don't know if the escorts were paid for their time, or paid for their entertainment, or paid for the SEX, that we don't know what they were paid for. I call bullshit, and I'm going to tell you why. Because each person described their encounter as being them coming to the door, Cassie opening it with a wig on, and them going in, them having SEX with her. Diddy is whacking, he's playing whack-a-mole in the corner while he's videotaping and directing people. And after the encounter is over, he pays them. There is no strip tease. There is no entertainment as far as regular, like, entertainment. There's none of that going on. These, from the escorts to Cassie and Jane, they have all testified to the fact that these guys came in there. They got busy with the girls and they were paid afterwards. So while the defense is putting on a very good case, because I will say they are putting on a good case, these lawyers, this is a dream team. I'm not going to hold you. These are excellent lawyers, okay? I have been talking about the way that some of the witnesses have been handled. I have been talking about the government presenting the case because this was the government's time to present a case. I was looking forward to coming on here and giving y'all what the defense was giving us. So that way, everybody in the back that was like, oh, you're biased, you want to see him go to jail, they would see I was not being biased. I was actually giving you what the government was giving us. And then when the defense is putting on theirs, I would give you what the defense is putting on and pay more attention to the defense and a little less to the prosecution, because at that point in time, I just feel like if the prosecution is calling witnesses, pay attention to what the witnesses are saying that are on the stand. Listen to what the defense is coming back with, but pay attention and show more highlight on that side. When the defense puts on their case, you highlight the defense and show what they're showing you. So this way, people are getting a true perspective of the case. But because the defense has decided not to put on a defense, I can't give you that. I can only give you what they're trying to go for an acquittal for. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with everything that they've said. I think that some of these charges have been actually proven through not just testimony. Forget about the testimony for a second. Some of these things have been proven through text messages. Through text messages. So, I mean, for them to say that the case was not proven at all, I'm sorry, I can't agree with that, because some of these things most definitely have been proven. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. That's my 2 cents on it. They did put on a hell of a argument, because they had me sitting there like, okay, I see you, Shapiro. But the government, they just was like, that's what you got. Oh, all right. And Shapiro was standing there like, yeah. What? That's what we got. Westmoreland was sitting back in the chair chilling like, yeah. Yeah. Get him, Alexandra. Get him. Get him. Lay it down. Lay it down. Yeah. That's my dog. That's my dog. But, you know, this is still in the hands of the jury. This is still in the hands of the jury. But Nino did bring up a good point. I do feel like they gave up after juror number 6 was taken out. And that kind of looks suspect to me. But what do I know? I don't know anything. The next thing I want to talk about is Roger Bonds over there on Gene Deal. Y'all, Roger over there talking about Gene Deal, talking about Diddy told us to punch Gene Deal and Mark Curry in the face if we seen him. Child, y'all got to listen to this.
Who I've interviewed. Well, Gene Deal, who I've interviewed before, and I have said some of the stuff he says is true, some of the stuff I feel has been made up. Were you there?
Vlad, everything that you say and everything that you do, we feel can and will be used against anybody in a court of law.
When Gene Deal was there?
No, I wasn't there when Gene was before me. Gene was in the Kim Porter, the Misa days.
Okay. But you guys have discussed Gene Deal.
Yeah.
How did those discussions go? Meaning you and Puff.
I mean, those discussions. It wasn't never just me and Puff. It was us and the security. This down the other. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, man, y'all ain't seen Gene. And in reality, we did see Gene. We all from Harlem. But Puff wasn't running around Harlem like that. So me and Paulie and them would never tell him when we seen Gene. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't really give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, yo, if y'all see Gene, I'm telling y'all, man, somebody better punch him in the face. Somebody better do something to him, man. He out here doing this, that. We'd be like, all right.
Okay, so when was this? Because was Gene doing interviews at this point?
Yeah, we talking like 2008, 2009. Gene was spreading the word. You know, Gene was always passing out for
Wait, hold up. Vlad TV started in 2008, 2009. YouTube was really early.
No, he wasn't doing YouTube and stuff. He was going around talking a lot of shit. And we all from Harlem. So he was just talking a lot of shit. And it's a small... Harlem is
So
small.
what was Gene Deal saying during that time? What did you hear?
He basically was talking about Puff fighting women, hitting women, shit that was going on with him and Kim.
But did he lie though?
Puff being gay, you know, shit with him and Usher and shit like that. He was talking the same shit that he's talking now on a major scale, but he was spreading it around Harlem. Okay. So it was basically a thing where, yo, if y'all see that nigga, man, I'm telling y'all better hear he got hands put on him, this, that, and the other. But we seen him, you know what I'm saying? But we still living in Harlem. He's not living in Harlem. We still living there, so we're bumping to him. You know, we're bumping to him at the bank. There was a couple of times we bumped into him in the street. We ain't had no real beef with him, but we would act like it when we was around Puff because that's what he want to hear. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but Puff was never with you guys when you guys saw Gene Deal.
Nah,
so
never.
So you guys were just...
That's why we just was like, nah, we ain't seen him.
Huh.
Same thing with Mark Curry. You know what I'm saying?
Mark Curry was running his mouth about Puff.
He had the book out since 2009, 2010. So I'm telling you,
with the devil, I think.
Yeah, if y'all see him, y'all better put hands on him. This, that, and the other. When Uncle Paulie said he seen Mark, he said he seen him. He closed the door and he locked the door and everything. It was him and some other security dudes. And he asked Mark. He said, "Yo, why you doing this, yo?" He said, "Man, I gotta take care of my family." And Paul told him, "Okay, that's all I wanted to hear, yo." He ain't tell Puff about it. You know what I'm saying? But he said, yo, if you doing it to take care of your family, man, take care of your family. But this is the type of stuff that we ain't go back and tell Puff. You know what I'm saying? You know, because we know that you a piece of shit at the end of the day, to be honest with you. It's just that we need a job.
Hey, Coco Drips is a member. Welcome to the other side. Gene Deal and Jaguar White talk too much and had zero receipts. Who cares if he gay? LOL. Being gay ain't illegal. He ain't. Okay. Wendy said Puff was gay. She did. Defense gave up nothing. Gave up not bringing KKD Rock or other Diddy prosecutors or protectors to refute testimony. Here's the thing, Bark. I feel like they didn't bring KK in. I don't think they were ever going to bring KK in. I don't think they were ever going to bring D-Rock in. I don't think they were ever going to bring Fahim in, because I believe that they are co-conspirators on this case, because their names keep popping up. Over the span of time, their names keep popping up. D-Rock was doing stuff to help Diddy out. So was KK. So was Fahim. Okay? They were all involved in this. Y'all don't find it... You don't find it suspicious that they was able to pull in these assistants? You don't find it suspicious that they couldn't pull over the span of 20 years? You telling me these are the only people that you could get that would step forward and talk? I don't think that all of them people was willing to come in and testify for the defense. Honestly, that's one. I don't think they were willing to come into court and testify. I don't think they wanted to get involved. That's one. Two. The whole thing with Juror 6, throwing them off their pivot, it raises an eyebrow, because why is it that after that juror is gone, Y'all had a whole list of witnesses that y'all were going to call in, right? Then all of a sudden, that big list shrunk to 5 people, then to 3 people, then to no people. That's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there had to be people out there that were willing to still testify for Diddy. But I just feel like when it comes down to KK, D-Rock, Fahim, them, they can't come. If they're co-conspirators, they won't be able to come in and testify. So then there's that. But Roger Bonds has been talking. Like, y'all, if y'all go watch Roger Bonds' interview with DJ Vlad, he's talking about everything. So Bonds was not about to be called in to testify. And not only that, if he was called in to testify, he would be testifying against Diddy. It's very clear and evident that he would be testifying against Diddy. But you also heard from Roger Bonds why Gene Deal was not called in to testify. Gene Deal was Misa, Kim, those eras before Cassie. They're going from 2004 to 2024. That's the 20-year span that they're going by. So Gene was not coming in to testify, but Roger Bonds coming out talking about Puff told us that if we saw Gene to punch him in the face. Listen, this don't sound good neither. And then to have somebody, you heard what he said, right? We knew that he was a piece of shit, but we needed a job. That's been kind of the theme with people when it comes down to Diddy. Like, I needed my job. I wanted my job. I wanted my job. I don't know. Henny, do you think there will be another trial against the conspirators? It's possible, yes. If they are actually true co-conspirators, yes. Facts, laugh my ass off. He wasn't going out. They don't play the Batiman stuff. Mukavelli. What am I doing with you? You, Mukavelli, Nino Black, Swagger Low, and freaking Sherm. What am I going to do with the 4 of y'all? Because the 4 of y'all in this chat together, hilarious. I can't. Bark, you be in here behaving for the most part. I don't never see you, but I'm just saying. Where's 72? Yes, you. He's talking about me? Yes, you. All right, let's see what this poll is hitting for. Will the judge move for acquittal? 28% of y'all said yes. 72% of you said no. I'm trying to get the dog on screen. It looks like this is... That's going up on the post. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. This is crazy. This is crazy to me. Let me end this poll. And let me do this. I like doing the questions better. Now, let me say this. Okay, I'm putting a question up on the screen. Let me see if y'all get it. Why it ain't showing my question? It ain't showing my question. I'm getting mad. who I said, they would be like, oh, she really don't know how to act. I'm getting very upset right now. It's not letting me put my damn question up. Oh, forget it. I'll have to do another poll. Forget it. Okay, is... Here we go. Y'all ready? Where's Sherm? He would be so happy because this poll has 3 options. Weirdos don't last a second in here. They don't. Especially with Uniquely in here. Uniquely be like, deuces. Get your... They was set tripping on me and Nino. Who was? They up out of here now, right? Hey, Rose and Gold girl. Well, look at here. This our last poll of the night because I am going to be closing down. I'm tired, y'all. I'm super tired. It's been a long day. This Diddy trial has been a lot. And I think the thing is, a lot of us came in here with high expectations of hearing a lot more testimony than what we were hearing. That it was going to be a lot more interesting than what it was. This case was basically built off of communications between everybody. Okay? Everybody's communications. You've been putting in work. I know that trial hella draining. It is. You're welcome, Brenda. Talk about my Krishan bar. What about my Krishan bar? Okay, first of all, if you into Krishan content, Straight Henny Media is where I do all of my Krishan content. Okay, and I open up a panel. I let people come up and talk. And, but over here we talk about court docs, court cases, and things of that nature. Okay. It is too hot, but it also is a lot of swagger. Talk about your Krishan activities. Since you want to put me on blast. We listening. I'm playing. You got the ghouls at the bar. You know I don't roll alone. I got hitters all around me. And you know I get up in here and start hitting myself. You know that. Yeah, bang, bang. I be in here too. Can't wait for you to cover the new drama with Krishan. Baby, that's a lot. I gotta make videos, okay? I can't be... Listen to me. You had to shout me out today on Neem Bar. Oh, man. No, I love... Shout out to Gangland Neem. I love Neem. But y'all was having a man conversation, okay? And I was just like, ow. Okay, let me get up out of here. But this trial has been very trying. All of us are feeling the same way. Even today, we're just like, what are we going to talk about? Like, what is there to talk about? Once we talk about the Rule 29 motion, what else is there to talk about? There's really nothing to say that we haven't said already because it's been repeated. It's repetitive. It's very repetitive. At first, when we're reading text messages, it's like, oh, what y'all was saying. Because when you be texting people, the intention is never for anybody to ever see what you said. And what we did learn is when you delete stuff off of these phones, it's not gone. So all your little freak off photos that you've been sending around, okay? You and your boo sexting and stuff and sending each other adult contents. You delete that out your phone, guess what? It's somewhere in your hard drive until your hard drive needs that space. But your hard drive ain't gonna need that space for a long time. So that stuff goes there. And then you be having, for the iPhones, you be having that cloud. We don't know where that stuff goes in the cloud, but it be up in the cloud. And all it takes is for you to get jammed up in some type of situation and they gotta go extracting stuff from your phone. Got him. And don't let it be no situations where you up in here two-timing and doing all types of stuff. Because if you start, you getting into all of that type of activity and you go to sit in court, baby, you better kiss your significant other goodbye. Because if they didn't know what you was up to, they for damn sure gonna find out in that court of laws. Because the court of laws is gonna try to piss off your significant other to where they could possibly get them to testify against you unless you are married to that person. Just saying. They gonna say, oh, well, did you know that that's not exactly where they were? Or if they try to give you an alibi and say, oh no, they was with me on such and such a day at such and such a time, whoever it is that's sitting across from them with all that information from your hard drive, they gonna be like, you know you done ucked up, right? You know you done ucked up. Because on that day, they was over here with this person. Oh, baby, they about to get to talking. She said they better stay out of my phone cloud because, babe, I'm just trying to tell you. Nobody go see that cloud. Miss Pammy. She said, stay up out my cloud, okay? Stay out my cloud. Imagine somebody pulling up some stuff from 20 years ago. You feel me? Listen. Cassie turned in her devices. She turned in computers, laptops, and cell phones. And she said she didn't get rid of them because she didn't know what was on them. So she turned this stuff over to the government. And the government went pulling all of this stuff. They grabbed Diddy's phones. Every phone they found, they grabbed it and they found communications. They said Swagger said that's why you gotta send that 10-second video. It don't matter. That 10-second video can be pulled off that hard drive and out that cloud. And I heard Google got a cloud or something similar to it now too. I don't know. That's a fact. One of his biggest downfalls was his obsession to record. But that was the same thing with R. Kelly. His obsession to record is what got him jammed up and sitting up in Click Click City in the MDC in North Carolina, South Carolina, one of them Carolinas where he's sitting at. Don't forget they got a second phone from Diddy while the trial was going on too. No. That's not true. I don't know where you got that from, but that is not true. They didn't get a second phone from Diddy while the trial was going. It was a second phone from Diddy after they had already did the raids. And when they took KK's phone from off the tarmac when they was on the jet, when they was at in New York, and they took Diddy's phone from the hotel. That's what it was. When they took his phone from the hotel, that's when they saw the communication about the cell phone that the government never found. So it wasn't while the trial was going on. That's incorrect information. That happened after they arrested him in the hotel in New York before he got put in Click Click City. They took his phone, they took KK's phone. And in his phone was that communication about the phone that the feds did not find when they raided the house. Yeah, after he was arrested, there was only one arrest of Diddy. There was 2 raids, 1 arrest, and then they searched his room at the hotel after they arrested him. Now, I don't know who said that, and I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes, but that information was inaccurate that they found it during the trial. Thank you, Quantum. What did you say? Love are loved each other and the love of the kids and friends with. I don't know what you're talking about, Leon. What you talking about, Leon? You don't know what you're talking about. Quantum Hustle just wanted some attention. Hey. I hope you double tap that screen. Anyway, you guys, let's see what it says in the poll. Okay, so the poll said, is Diddy A, innocent, B, guilty, or C, I don't know. 9% of you said innocent, 20% said guilty, and 72% said, I don't know. I don't know. That's the poll right there. If you didn't get a chance to take it, the poll is down here. The peoples have spoken. This is for the wall. Okay. I got my picture. All right, we're going to end this poll. If you just got here, welcome. But we are about to be ending this portion of programming because I am tired, okay? But I had to come and give y'all a live because I always come and give y'all a live. Y'all make sure that y'all are following me on TikTok at thatgirl.henny on TikTok. And you know, you can follow me on That Girl Henny Reviews on IG. Sometimes I go live. I talk about other stuff. If you want to get to know me a little bit better, you will know me on those lives. I get a little bit more personal over there. TikTok, I'm going to be building up to match this YouTube. So please make sure you're following me over there. I love you all. Yes, 72% said guilty. I love you all and I appreciate you. If you are new here, welcome to the bar. And I will see y'all in the next spill. Peace, everybody. Have a good night.